Dark Weapon is a spell buff that applies dark damage to your melee weapon for a limited duration. It comes with 4 to 8 casts depending upon your level of attunement and requires 16 intelligence and 14 faith to use by default. The duration scaling of Dark Weapon will depend upon your level of intelligence and caps at 24 total intelligence for a 99-second duration. You can use stat boosting gear to reach this intelligence cap. If you are looking to maximize your damage output in the most optimal way in Dark Souls 2, you should know that weapon physical damage scaling tends to be quite poor and does not give you significant returns on investment. This means that oftentimes investing into dexterity or strength past the requirements needed to two-hand your weapon will demand higher stat investment and will result in dealing less damage overall compared to elementally infusing your weapon and using spell buffs. The following video is meant as a guide to get you Dark Weapon and utilize its full benefits as soon as possible. The first step is to make your way to Hades Tower of Flame to kill Dragon Rider. Once you have killed Dragon Rider, exhaust Licia of Lindelt's dialogue so she can unlock the path for you to get into Huntsman's Copse. Once back in Majula, make your way to Licia's second location to have her move the path. Once you have made your way to Falcon the Outcast, you will need to have at least 8 natural intelligence and faith for him to become a merchant so you may purchase Dark Weapon. You cannot use stat boosting gear to meet this requirement. To cast Dark Weapon, you will need a staff or chime that is capable of casting hexes. We recommend Sorcerer's Staff or Witch Tree Branch. Both of these staffs are lightweight with low requirements and can be found fairly early into the game, with Witch Tree having one of the fastest innate cast speeds in the game. You do not need to infuse or upgrade your spell tool if you are just using it to buff your melee weapon. Now that you have Dark Weapon, we can work on reaching the full potential of the buff. It is recommended to have 20 intelligence and faith, so Falcon will gift you Sunset Staff and Hexer's Set. A part of this set, called Hexer's Hood, is important to reach the full benefit potential of Dark Weapon, as it will raise your intelligence and faith stat by 1 point each, while also granting 5% additional spell uses. You will be able to easily reset your stat points after this is done, and can opt to do this now as you can find a few soul vessels early into the game. A link is provided in the description as to where these items are. If you would like to reallocate your points now while wearing Hexer's Hood, you will want to invest 23 intelligence and 13 faith to account for the stat boost. Eventually, we will want to travel to Iron Keep to lower the faith requirement of Dark Weapon using a Skeptic Spice. This item is a consumable that is used to lower the faith requirement of spells by 1 point. To use them, you must visit Magerald of Lannifer with 4 Skeptic Spices to get the lowest requirement possible of 10 faith. You will not want to use a Simpleton Spice for Dark Weapon, as you will want to exceed the minimum intelligence requirement of the spell because intelligence is responsible for the duration scaling of this buff. You will want to get 24 total intelligence for a 99-second spell duration. It is important to note that if your starting class is Cleric, you will not be able to lower your faith stat down past 12. In this case, you will only have to use 2 Skeptic Spices. Once we have acquired Dark Weapon, Hexer's Hood, and have spiced down the faith requirement, we can opt to reallocate our stats and things betwixt by using a Soul Vessel for stat efficiency. Depending on your starting class, you will reallocate to having 23 intelligence and 9 faith if you have also spiced down the faith requirement of Dark Weapon. Dark Weapon is the best early game buff in Dark Souls 2 due to having 4 casts at base with 10 attunement and 5 casts when wearing Hexer's Hood. Utilizing the full 99-second duration of this buff, coupled with a generous cast amount, makes Dark Weapon helpful for clearing areas leading up to bosses while still having a cast or 2 left over for the boss itself. Dark Weapon can and should be utilized for most melee builds and is useful even into the late game. Dark Weapon is best utilized when applied to a weapon that already deals great damage. Check out our Dark Souls 2 Best Weapons video for recommendations, and be sure to check out our future videos about more Dark Souls 2 mechanics.